Can you build a Harris voter or a Trump voter? The race between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump is in its final stretch. And it appears astonishingly close at the beginning of the year. Mr. Trump led Joe Biden by a few points, but the Democrats' change of candidates flipped the race on its head. Ms. Harris has held a slender lead in national polling since she joined the race. Still, Mr. Trump is much closer than he was in 2020 and appears to be ahead or very close in many of the key swing states where the election is likely to be decided. A small but critical slice of voters who plumped for Mr. Biden back then are now telling pollsters that they plan to defect. Who are they? Was this originally published in 2024, or is it just like writing this like prospectively or whatever? It was written back then. To find out, we built a statistical model to assess how a hypothetical voter might cast a ballot based on their demographic traits. Our data comes from YouGov, an online pollster, which every week surveys over 1,000 people about their demographic profile, voting history, and voting intentions. We combine all of its survey results since January 2023 to get a detailed portrait of America's voting preferences. Well, this doesn't matter as much, right? Because we would just go with exit polling stats rather than trying to do a predictive model. Or maybe we could just see, or somebody would have to check, like, how did this match up with how people actually voted? Sandwich guy is not guilty? Damn, that's the fastest criminal. Talk about a right to a speedy trial. Oh, and it was the jury already decided. Yeah, damn. Federal jury found a former DOJ employee not guilty of misdemeanor assault over a viral incident in which he allegedly threw a sandwich at a Customs and Border Protection officer. King. What an absolute fucking king. Seven hours of deliberation across 2 days. Wow, they really went to the mat on this one. There was some fucking 12 angry men going on. Did you say he had glasses when he threw that sandwich? Assaulting, resisting, or impeding certain officers or employees. Is this would this be an example of jury nullification? Jury nullification is when a jury votes not guilty, even though the guy's guilty, right? You've actually seen 12 Angry Men. I'm surprised. Well, I hate older. I half meme, but I just don't like older movies, especially like black and white ones. I just don't as much. But somebody's like, oh no, 12 Angry Men is good. You should watch that at least. And I was like, I watched it. And I was like, no, it's okay. It's a good movie. I don't think I'd be like, oh, 12 Angry Men. But it was like a good movie. I watched it, yeah. Choice quote from his testimony on the stand. Have you seen Casablanca? Is that the Rosebud Sled one? I feel like I should watch that. Fuck, what movie was that? Citizen Kane. I have heard from at least two people that like, no, this is actually, it's older and it feels old, but it is a good movie. I don't know, maybe I should watch this. Watched V for Vendetta again last night. Forgot how much I loved it. I am so curious. You know how sometimes you watch a movie and like people come away with the exact opposite political implications than you? Like how many times conservatives will talk about like 1984 and then talk about the Democrats and it's like, wait, what? Sometimes I'm so curious what goes on in the mind of a conservative when it's like, you look at like Stephen Miller, you look at like, and you guys are the ones that believe in these archetypes and everything. You guys are the ones that believe that these stories transcend, like they all got obsessed with Jordan Peterson saying it. How do you not look at the current administration and not see literally the stereotype of every single like movie, video game, story bad guy ever? Like all of these people are the classic bad guy archetypes, always. Destiny, The Usual Suspects classic, early 90s, seen it. I did see it, but I thought it was retarded. I didn't understand the point of it at all. Was it just like the guy was bored, so he made up a story, and then it's just supposed to be like an epic twist? Is that like the meme, or... Did you see that Matt Brunig is going to be part of the transition team? No, but cool. Gavin is such an unbelievable... Wait, Gavin made a based... There was a base tweet last night that was fucking Kino shit. Fuck. I laughed out loud when I saw it. What was it? Was it yesterday? Okay, this is... Did he really say this? Wait.
Saying you're happy with what you came out of it.
If I didn't have tariffs, we would right now, the entire world would be in a depression. Because, you know, that wasn't a threat against us. That was a threat against the entire world. I did this for the world. But yeah, I would say that I can guarantee you this, if I didn't put 100% tariff immediately on China, the entire world, because of magnets, a special kind of rare earth, etc., right? Would be closed up. Without the benefit of tariffs, we would not. We had a very successful meeting with President Xi of China and others. And without...
Thank God. Did you see John Mulvaney went to the Who are all these Mulvaneys? Mulvaneys? What is like Mick, and then the one Mulvaney was in the Budweiser thing? How many of these people are there? I don't even know who's the trans one? What's their name? Dylan? Is that the woman name, or was that post or pre? John Mulaney's a top 10 comedian. Dylan Mulvaney. Is this the one who also had to transition at a super young age? The one that Tim Pool is obsessed with, or is that a different one? I don't know. Listen, I don't do pop culture, okay? Talk to me about Cloud Strife and Ramza Belv, or however you pronounce his name, okay? Live, laugh, lose. Is this the Oval Office? Is that in case you forget where you are? What? Are you going to listen to Supreme Court arguments for tariffs? Why? What's the point? All the legal shit in this country doesn't matter, apparently. What a waste of time learning anything just to look at our current Supreme Court be a fucking meme tier shit. Or to see that even in my own court case, everything is just memes. It's all, at the end of the day, the world is memes, okay? That is a good one. Fuck me, I might have just won this one. Oh, it was this one too. Oh shit, what the fuck? Why? I don't even know. Why?
He didn't miss that! How fitting! I still... Oh, Demon! Sweet chin music to the boss! And the battling boss of the WWE! Just got his pedigree checked! Check it on the referee, make sure he's okay. And... Look at this! What? Wait a minute. What's he gonna do? Wade Barrett looking to put Orton through the table. Looking to drive the
So retarded.
Oh, wait a second. Ripley. Gallows into the post. Rhea Ripley's connecting. Luke Gallows. Oh my God. Oh my God.
It's funny because like Trump was posting memes like this unironically, and conservatives were actually like, "Oh, it's actually so cool that Trump is doing this. It's actually so cool."
President Donald Trump It's actually so cool. He's so cool, bros.
Trump is shifting his criticism of the hosts of a cable television talk show to all media. And we saw more evidence of that on Twitter this morning when the president posted a graphically enhanced version of this 2007 video of him beating up Vince McMahon, the CEO of the WWE.
Like, I remember that, yeah, they were all so fucking soying out over it. They were so happy.
To make it look like he's beating up CNN. Wendy Gillette reports.
The president returned to Washington Saturday night to deliver remarks to one of his core group of supporters.
Wait, why do I feel like young Trump looks more like Shane Gillis than old Trump looks like young Trump? Am I crazy?
The president returned
I had to do a double take real quick. Wait, what the fuck? What? Oh my God. He's changed so much.
To one of his core group of supporters, veterans.
There is no place I'd rather
be
than with you.
An evangelical megachurch in Dallas sponsored the event at the Kennedy Center, during which the president also railed against the media.
The fake media tried to stop us from going to the White House, but I'm president and they're not.
The oral arguments that the Solicitor General actually argues that the tariffs aren't revenue generating and that any revenue is just incidental, actual lies. I haven't listened to the arguments, and I'm saying this with a huge amount of caution, although I don't know why, because Republicans don't give a fuck. My guess is the reason why he's saying that is because those aren't supposed to be there for economic policy. It's supposed to be there for times of national emergency. So if the president is using these for, warding off national emergencies, and that's a legitimate use of the emergency power there. But if he's just using it for econ policy, that's not okay. But you can tell with the way he talks about it, obviously it's econ policy, right? Otherwise, why would 90 deals in 90 days matter? Are these national security deals, or are you still looking for a car? Bro, my shit is raped, okay? Ask me in a year when I've financially recovered from this court case. Oh God, and I have to put together the whole thing because I'm gonna have to beg you guys for money on the first, because I'm heavily considering a second lawsuit, but there's no fucking world where I'm funding this on my own. Maybe, but that second one would be significantly cheaper though, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see when we get there. Oh wait, what was this? Back for day 2, Sandwich Guy's trial and government opening statements. This case about the fact that you can't go... Oh wait, didn't we already read this from yesterday? Yeah, we did. Seems like you save more money in the long run, break your 2 leases, moving someplace cheaper in Nebraska. Fuck, I hate that state. I would have to live in, the only thing keeping me from New York City or LA, I'd have to give up all my guns, which would be really annoying. Yeah, I don't know. Thought sometimes losing a Maine congressman in a red district citing continued harassment and violent threats. No clue. Don't know anything about it. And as for cars, my brain is just fucking going so much around on things. I think that assuming I get remonetized on YouTube, that's another thing too. If I don't get remonetized, then I have to reconsider some stuff. But if I don't get assuming I had all the money in the world that I had before, and I wasn't wasting money on a lawsuit and everything else, and I was still monetized on YouTube, the dream car, I think, the one that I really wanted, I think, was that GT3. The Porsche, it's like the 911, 992, whatever bullshit, that thing. But the issue is that it's hard to, I don't think you can find them new, ever. You have to be on the fucking Porsche dick suck lists or whatever. And the MSRP, I think you can buy them new for around, was it 250 to 300K? So this is a decently expensive car. But just from all the car people that I spoke to, it is the best. This is just the best fucking car if you want a fast car that's fucking awesome Not the RS, that's the track car. Okay, not the RS one, whatever this is. It's just like just everybody that whose opinions I respect on vehicles. This is just like, this is the best. This is it. This is it. Okay. Absent this, because I like to be a special snowflake. I like my Focus RS. This is a unique car. There weren't many of them made. I do think it was best in class compared to the other three that I looked at. It's just and it's cute, and I like it. It's unique. So I'm looking at something else unique. I was thinking of I could just grab an Amira. These are unique as well. I think you can probably grab one for around 100K. The only problem is, though, when I was re-looking at this car is a lot slower than I remember it was. This car is like barely faster, I think, than my RS. Maybe it handles better. It must have all-wheel drive, right? So I'm like, it has two different engines. Did you check? Even on the best engine, like the 0 to 60 was like 4 seconds or something, I think, right? The Amira is rear-wheel drive. Oh, is it? The turbocharged 4-cylinder can achieve 0 to 60 in 3.8. Why is the turboed 4-cylinder faster than the supercharged V6? Is it it must be a really small turbo? I don't know. It's a unique car. It's cute. It looks cool, I think. But then I also read, besides the fact that it's kind of slow, besides the fact that it's kind of slow, I also think, because I'm getting older, okay? I am getting older, and I have to think about these things. I'm thinking creature comforts, okay? I kind of I think, because all the cars that I buy are always like hardcore performance, like, I don't know if you say like budget, affordable cars, and they don't have a lot of like creature comforts. So like the nice cameras on the backup rear view, like all this stuff, and the little window, like even my RS, which I think is a 2017, doesn't have a thing on my mirrors to tell me like to lane change or whatever, which you don't need, but like, I don't know. And a nice like touch screen for controlling radio and shit. And I feel like all roads lead me back to the Corvette. But obviously this is a super common car, but like, this thing is just a monster, bro. It's so fast. It's just so much cheaper. It's just like, fuck me, dude. I don't know how they do. And they look nice too, especially with the mid-engine builds that they have now. I think they look nice, but obviously it's a very common car. They're just so fast for the cost. What the fuck? And I've heard that like the insides and everything are nice. The C8, the current version of the Corvette, goes 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. That's wild. And depending on the package you get, I don't know, the ZTK, whatever this bullshit is, I don't know how much that would cost if you buy it. Does a quarter mile less than 10 seconds? What the fuck? But I don't believe you can ever get it in manual. And then, so I don't know. No, manual Corvette with the mid-engine one though. Yeah. So I don't know, but who cares? Whatever. I'm a brokey at the moment anyway. So, like Hassan was. What the fuck you gotta go so fast for? Just gives the cops something to do. Dumbass. Stop talking about quarter mile and 0 to 60. EVs blow those sets of the water. What? Why the fuck would I get an electric vehicle? I don't want to sound like I'm, picking up a fresh 15-year-old, my new girlfriend in a fucking UFO, bro. I gotta look cool, all right? High school kids are more judgmental than ever. Okay, we're done with that. What is this?
In the morning at some time. Eric is your mayor. We're getting W's now. We need a mayor of swagger. I'm the Biden of Brooklyn. I wake up in the morning at some time and look at myself and I give myself the finger. I'm Gandhi-like. I think like Gandhi. I act like Gandhi. I want to be like Gandhi. This is life. Everyone that knows me, they know one thing. I hate rats. Some of the same folks are criticizing us now called me a murderer because I was killing rats. Well, you know what? We're going to kill rats. New York City is the Islamabad of America. We've gone through so many crises in our lifetime.
For everyday driving fun, it's all about low RPM, torque/weight. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's why historically I've always driven cars with small turbos. That's the one thing that kind of scared me off of the Porsche GT3. Although it's a cool car, it's fast, it's awesome. It's just a great car. I got to drive the one car guy that came when me and Dan were doing a show. He let me drive his. It was like your stomach. It's a fast car. It's an awesome fucking car. But I like cars with small turbos where you feel the boost kick in at like fucking like less than 2,000, not less than 2,000, like 2,000 to 2,500 RPM, like you feel it. I think I like that feeling more than having to get to the 6,000, 7,000 RPMs to like feel where the engine makes most of its power. But I don't know.
Depression. This is a place where every day you wake up, you could experience.
Do you think that Mel W will actually respond to plaintiff trying to get a statement from her? I doubt it. My guess is she doesn't want anything to do with any of this. That's why they're trying to subpoena her.
Everything from a plane crashing into our trade center to a person who's celebrating a new business that's open. Bring your boo to a restaurant. Somebody you're trying to, keep your marriage together.
Modern cars don't really have a lot of boost lag anyway, especially expensive supercars. Well, I mean, if it's a big turbo, it has to, right? There's no way around that. Or are there like special ways to engineer around that?
Little outdoors will help you. But I think rain also increases our population. People stay home and they reignite their love affair. Does Eric eat fish? Does he eat a hamburger? Does he do this? Does he do that? The problem wasn't the
multiple turbos. How common are like twin turboed cars? Is that a common thing anymore? I feel like those were for older, kind of semi shittier cars. Like if you really want consistent boost, isn't it better to just have like a supercharger on? Because then I don't know if that one can vary the boost. No, well, I guess the size. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know anything about supers. I only ever drove turboed cars.
Molded pizza. The problem was the pizza. Vegans eat Oreos and they drink Coca-Cola. I don't. I am the pilot, folks, and you are all passengers. Stop praying for me to crash the plane. Pray for me to land the plane, because there's no parachutes on this plane. We're all going down together.
Jesus. Are you still looking at getting a watch? Well, I was going to, but I thought I was going to get to wear my suits more. I have 2 more cool suits and I haven't gotten to wear them, so. You didn't wear them to Oxford? No, because to travel that far with a suit that nice, I'd have to iron shit over there and everything. Fuck all that bullshit. Why not swap an LS into a C3 Corvette? Do you think Lauren is only worth a C3 Corvette? Watch the one where he compared himself to Christ.
So, this is a biblical moment. When Jesus was on the cross, he said, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do. All these Negroes who are asking me to step down, God, forgive them. So.
Based. King. Nice. Removed by moderator. Sick post. What is this? Oh.
Yesterday in the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Roberts said that tariffs are taxes and that they're paid by Americans. He said this pretty clearly. And yet you're saying that this money is rolling in from other countries. How do you square those two?
Well, it's coming in because they've charged us. You know, those same countries that you talk about are charging us massive amounts of money. If you look at the tariffs over the years that were put on our heads, there's a reason we're $38 trillion owed. Now that money's going to start coming down.
Yeah.
But we had presidents that didn't know how to use tariffs. We had presidents that had no understanding of business. But if you take a look at what's happened to us, every country charges tariffs. China.
Yesterday.
Okay. Retarded. King. Was Middle East Eye delaying your episode? No, I read this the other day. They emailed me. Apparently, they said they lost the episode because it got fucked up on their recording somehow, or their cards got fucked up somehow. So, rip. They want to schedule something again, but now it was like a 3-hour talk. But now what I requested, I sent them an email and I asked, I would really like to moderate an Israel-Palestine discussion. Like, so if I could find like a Zionist guy to debate that dude and then moderate it, that would be very interesting to me. But we'll see. I don't know how he feels about it, so. What are your hijab debate? That's out whenever Oxford releases it.
Good morning, Hank. It's Tuesday. So the background here is that
1 year ago.
Several years ago, you and I both got huge red messages from Gmail that was like, we believe your email has been accessed by a foreign government. And we were both like, well, that's weird and unfortunate, but then we moved on with our lives. But then a couple months later, I got a phone call from a friend, not a close friend, but a friend, and he was like, hey, my buddy who's a diplomat is coming to Indianapolis for the Indy 500 and he'd like to meet you. And I was like, great, we love to welcome people to Indianapolis for the greatest spectacle in racing. And so I was put in touch with this diplomat. And at the end of the email, it had his job title, and it was like Special Regional Assistant for Trade.
Yeah, we saw this a long time ago, I think.
Trade. And then I wrote back.
What incompetence? Everything should be recorded redundantly. That's definitely an excuse because you didn't support their narrative. No, the guy seemed really good faith. And I don't want to be mean at all. I love all humans. But I think the guy that was like setting the cameras up, I don't know if he was the guy that was normally doing it, but I could tell he was having a little bit of trouble figuring stuff out. I know everything. I know all the camera stuff now. Okay, I see them all. Okay, I talk to all the guys that set stuff up now. I get advice from people. Oh. Huh. Speaking of, oh my God, let's talk about tech and camera stuff. Oh my God. We're blowing. Also, new rule. If you give advice on some shit and it doesn't work the way you think it does because you looked something up online or whatever, okay? Fuck you. Fuck you. Were you really cold during the Virginia Tech debate? It was beautiful out here in the morning when we were setting up. And then as soon as I sit down in here, the clouds came out and it dropped. Dude, I actually didn't even drop that much. I'm lying to you. I'm actually just a pussy, okay? You don't understand what living in a warm state does to you. I used to say this all the time, bro. If you guys, you were in the shade, I know I was, but like when you live in Nebraska, in my mind at least, okay, in the Midwest, there are two temperatures I feel that everybody kind of like immediately recognizes. These might change based on the humidity, but you can tell immediately when it's below freezing. There's just a feeling of stuff being, there's just a feeling, you know, when it's below 33, 34, you know, you can feel it within like 2 degrees. You know it's below freezing. It's the first thing. And then the second thing is you know when it's below like 5 or 10, because when you inhale, everything in here instantly freezes. And below 10 degrees is when it's windy, even a little bit. When the wind is blowing in your face, you're getting waterboarded. You can't breathe. You actually can't breathe. You have to turn around. It's impossible. And then when the end of winter comes and spring starts to roll around, you get to you come out in like shorts and a t-shirt. When it's finally above freezing, when it's 35, 36 degrees out, it's like, oh, hallelujah. The sun is out. You're in like shorts, t-shirt, you're running around outside. It's so nice. But now I'm a baby bitch. Now when it's like 50, 60 degrees, I'm like, I can't exist out here. It's too much for me. Yeah. But okay. My first question is, I don't know why I can't ask any of you guys, actually. I need to do all this myself. I can't do this with chat. I just realized it. I need to read what the ND, or not ND, I'm sorry. I need to read what the, what's possible to control using, there's a thing called like tally and talkback and all this that you can control back and forth. I think it's possible to control the cameras from the device the guy that I have like switching scenes for me is doing, because the changing light throughout the day, like at this point, I think I actually get up to change the ND filter on the camera. The shot is like wildly overexposed, but the sun keeps like coming in and out of the clouds, and then it's causing the sunlight to change like pretty dramatically. Oh, like you could see the switch there. But I think there's a way to remotely control that on this device. I need to figure that out. This is what a producer is for? No, that's what a camera crew is for. I have a guy that switches scenes for me, and sometimes he'll adjust the mic gain if people are quiet or too quiet or whatever. But what I need is, I need to see if I'm able to have him remotely adjust the camera stuff. He's this guy right here, Andrew, switching scenes and everything for me. You need the 4x12 and you can use Ethernet PoE with that. Thank you, I know. This is the device that I currently use. And it's fucking awesome. It's actually based. The sound is too quiet? What? No, I think the sound was fine for this.
Fine. Okay, they ceased fired. You guys, you college kids can't complain about that one anymore.
Yeah.
You got to find a new issue to march about.
I think it's not actually
People that don't care about never your.
Actually, everything ran really well for this. I'm pretty happy with this. I set up in 90 minutes. I have my pack down to about 120 pounds of gear, including my laptop. It'd be nice if I could get that below 100. I thought about swapping. I don't want to have to. It just sucks to buy 3 more of these. I have so many Blackmagic cameras laying around now that are like $3,000 cameras that I don't need. But I think these Blackmagic 4Ks are quite a bit smaller than the 6K that I have. But this would it might save me some decent weight too. I don't know if there's like, I'm sure somewhere it says how many pounds this thing weighs. I would have to make sure they have all the same Ethernet features, but. Sell your old shit to Dan and Mooten? I don't think they would buy. I don't think they need to buy any of this. I also need to figure out. I need to figure out what people would charge for this normally too, because I feel like I'm doing I'm providing a pretty big free service, because I think I feel like video people charge up to anywhere from like $3,000 to $5,000 to bring out like all of, because they would rent the equipment, they would set it all up, they would handle all the recording, everything, and I'm technically doing it all for free, right? Like I'm setting it all up and doing it all, and then have my guy switching scenes.
And so, I would venture to say that modern duty.
I think the 4Ks have an M43 lens mount. What the fuck is an M43 lens mount? Is that a real thing? They have to be using the same lens mounts. You really think they're not using is it a EF Canon mount? Active Micro 430. Wait, what the fuck? What even is that? Can you get like a speeder to make your other lenses compatible? Are you doing anything with the Army interface? Yes, I like that. I would never recommend this for an ordinary human being though. It's way too expensive because it's what was it called? Babyface? It's like $2,000 or it's $1,000, but no normal person needs this just for their computer. But I'm able to run. I just run both XLR cables into my interface so that I have my sound for stream, and then I just run a single XLR cable out of this to the PA speaker system. And then there's no latency. Everything works perfectly. I'm holding my microphone correctly now, so there's no feedback. And yeah. Ignore the idiot talking about the M43 mounts. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I would just have to make sure this still does. I think this still can do the Ethernet thing that the IP2110 or the 2110 IP thing here. Yeah, I don't know. This is just stuff I need to consider. But I guess I would still use the studio cam though if I do need. I don't want to get like adapters and shit for my lenses. Fuck all that. Oh, okay, wait. One question I do have is Destiny. Ignore the idiots saying ignore the idiots talking about mounts. Studio 4K versus Studio 6K lens mount Black Magic. Has a micro 4/3 mount as an EF mount. This makes the 4K version more versatile for adapting a wider variety of lenses. Why? How is it more versatile? I feel like the EF mount is pretty standard, no? Isn't that all the Canon lenses? Short flange distance. Are you just saying what it says here? I don't know what a flange is. I don't know what the fuck that means. Don't know, don't care. Smaller mount means it can adapt to more lenses, but most lenses are sold as EF as well. What's the best camera brand? I think it's whatever you want to shoot with and are most comfortable with. Everything these days I think is pretty good. I think different stuff works better for different environments. Like the Blackmagic stuff, for instance, is supposed to be like super battery hungry. So if you want to shoot mobile, you have to have a lot of energy with you because it sucks up energy like crazy. When I checked last, the thing that I saw, for instance, like for like autofocus, I think Sony is the only camera system that has like good autofocus, in my personal opinion, and I might just be retarded. Navigating Sony menus is insanely complicated. I feel like I don't know anything about cameras when I start looking at the Sony menu. I have no fucking idea what's going on. I might be retarded. Although the Blackmagic menus are very simple. Maybe like 4 retards, but you really should understand what mount distance is. Well, usually for me, when I'm thinking of like mount distance, usually the issue is depending on what part of your, depending on what part of the cycle your mom is in, her ass could be way fatter. And then when I mount her, it's harder for my 12-inch cock get all the way inside that hot puss. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts on red cameras? Are those things like 20K or something? I don't need that shit. Mount distance can refer to a few different concepts. Let's look at the flange focal distance in photography or the mounting distance for gears. Flange focal distance is the distance from the camera's lens mount flange. Is it flange or flangey? Focal distance is the distance from the camera's lens mount flange. That's both wrong. They're both wrong. Is it flange?
To stuff, something about flange orbits, whatever those are. When Earth is attacked.
Mount. There's a 55mm internal diameter and a 16mm flange distance. That brings the rear
mount. The ultra-short flange distance allows a compact lens design.
The so-called flangey is the sleeve-like extension.
Leica M mount and other mounts with short flange focal distances.
Flange?
orientation of the flat spot on the flange.
Flange.
I have. Next up, LED lights.
Leica and mount.
As long as the lens mount and the flange depth, which is the sort of distance of that mount to the sensor, work for that camera body, it has enough coverage, right? This circle that we have projected here is the lens projection. It's called coverage. It has enough coverage to always cover a smaller sensor, but it doesn't go the other way. Or it often doesn't go the other way, because if you think about it, there's sort of an economic reason why you might have a small, like a lens with less coverage. It has less glass in it. It's less materials, so it's cheaper. It ends up being smaller. And
oh, this is like we were talking about. Wait. Can I make the last statement make sense then? So this is the lens. If the lens doesn't have the appropriate coverage for the sensor, then, assuming you're not cropping the sensor with some resolution setting, you're going to have just parts of your image that just have nothing in it. Okay, I got it. All right. Assuming I think that my Blackmagic cameras have internal, does this sound real? I think they have internal ND filters. So like I can push a button and then I hear a mechanism inside the camera going, like internal NDs, which are actually super helpful. If I have my camera set up appropriately such that I feel good about my, so I think this is shot, I want to say at around 75 millimeter focal length. I think I had my f-stop turned up to maybe 4.0. And then my ISO is at like negative 6 dB, as low as it can go on the camera. And then my FPS was at 30. I think I captured 30 for these. So 180 degree shutter means the shutter speed is 60 or whatever. But the image is way too bright. If your image is way too bright, is way too overexposed, do you just start slapping on ND filters, or would you start fucking with other stuff first? Like, would you just arbitrarily increase the shutter speed, or... Yeah, you got an ND down. Okay. So that's what okay. Actually, also, I think I'm lying. I think I actually had that f-stop cranked way the fuck up. I think I had it up to like 10 or something. I don't remember how. Lower ISO. The ISO gain was at as low as it can go. I think the lowest gain you can apply is like -8 or -6 on these cameras. So my f-stop might have been at, yeah, okay. The ND filters are good for that. Okay, it's way brighter outside. The sun puts out a lot of light, a lot of light in the outdoor world. Jesus, I thought my lenses were broken initially, or my sensors were fucked, because I turned my camera on and all the settings were right, and it's just like fucking, I'm like, Jesus. Let's see. Okay, 2 more random questions. Your 4x12 supports TalkBack. The producer can do it in software to control the cameras. Yes, although the 4x12 I have connecting to my ATEM Mini. This ATEM Mini, I can take an SDI out from the program or some other view to do in order to do whatever the fuck that TalkBack shit is. It'll like cue the cameras, like I can see lights on them. However, the Blackmagic 6K has a native ISO of 400. That's, yeah, I look at all the ISO settings in gain now, but it's whatever the 0 is, whatever the lowest setting is, I think. I think the ISO, the best looking ISO for every camera, I'm pretty sure is the lowest setting. They talk about having like native ISOs or dual native ISOs or whatever, but I think those are just the ISOs where they have like they're basically using like analog to increase the sensitivity of the sensor before applying some kind of algorithm to increase the sensitivity for light exposure. But I'm pretty sure the lowest is always technically the best, I think. The native is best for dynamic range. Yeah, but you can always boost it in post if you really need to, right? What was I going to say? Oh, I know I can do talkback and shit on this. I have to figure out if OBS or if there's a software way to control my cameras. Because if I could like swap ND filters, oh my God, and he could even do it when the camera's not cued, so you wouldn't be able to tell, just to keep it consistent. Is there any board like this? Are there any ATEM boards that can do more than 1080p? It really doesn't matter. I shouldn't care. It would be nice if I could capture my full 4K or 6K for my cameras, though. You need to have an operator on the camera if the shoot goes on for a while. Well, the guy can see all of the cameras, I think, or has the ability to look at them on on the laptop that I have running all this. Yeah. Destiny, not true. Some cameras will have a digitally enhanced low ISO, which will introduce noise the same way growing. Which ones? I've never heard that before. That could be. Maybe that's true, but that seems crazy to me. I'm pretty sure 4K ATEMs exist. I saw one, but it looked like a whole ass, like I'm in the Chernobyl lab. Oh yeah, like this thing? Bro, I'm not rolling around with this. Give me a break. The fuck? Are you talking about that retarded used laptop? Hey, that laptop's doing work out there, okay? But the guy behind the laptop can't adjust the camera from the laptop, right? Yes. Considering how much time you've put into understanding cameras, you'd think regular cameramen would be paid better. It seems really complicated. I mean, when you pay for a full crew to come out, you're paying a decent chunk of change, I think, number one. And number two, a lot of them, the best way that you learn is generally through work, right? If you graduated school, you got a job, like usually you learn stuff on the job. As you've worked with something for a long time, then eventually you learn what you can and can't do with it, so. When you said your ISO was set to negative, are you talking about exposure compensation? Normally the lowest is 100. The ISO, you can talk about ISO on, because I think technically ISO on digital cameras is not really the same as like ISO for physical cameras. So the ISO on I look at it in gain now instead of just a number. But the lowest setting that I can have the ISO on my Blackmagic Studio 6K is, I think, -8 decibels. It measures it in decibels. Whereas I don't know if 0, but I would have to check what the native is. I don't know. I'd have to check. Fucking. Craigslist ad for a cheaper operator. Just a kid to adjust the ND. No, the guy can do it with the laptop. Stop. I'm never buying a thing this big. Also, okay, it doesn't matter. I don't actually need, oh man, it's 5.5K, fuck that. I can just have 1080p, that's fine. I don't need a mobile stream in 4K. Okay, I said I had 2 questions. I had one more. What was it? Use Atmos recorders on each camera to record in 6K while you stream in 1080, so you have 6K editing. Well, I've got a bunch of T9 drives that I use for that, but it just realistically it wasn't working because the data files were way too big, and I have no realistic way of transferring them, and I'm not going to keep them all. Like when I was doing these events that would last like 3 hours, and I was recording in 4K or 6K, they were producing, the files were like 3 terabytes each. So it was 9 terabytes between the 3 cameras. There's just, realistically, there's no way I'm being able to, like, fuck all, that's just way too much. Another completely random question regarding dating. How much is too much texting when you're first dating a girl? Like, is it okay to go a day or 2 without texting a girl before your early dates with her? Are you gonna go over your hate court stuff tonight? Yeah, I'll read some of the court docs. When you're texting somebody, and one of the most important things you need to do is you need to gauge the interests of the other person when you are texting them. Gauging interest means what are they doing? How much are they doing to solicit a response from you? And how much effort are they putting in their responses to you? So if you ask a person, like, here's what you don't want to see, okay? You don't want to have these messages where it looks like, I don't know what the things look like, where it looks like this over and over again. If this shit is happening, then stop, then you're messaging too much. You're either killing the other person's interest or the interest is just completely gone. You don't want to be in this world. Don't do this. If you're sending messages and the other person is like responding like this or whatever, I don't know, just keep texting. So you have nothing else to say. Fuck it. Yeah. And then if they're especially if they're like asking questions at the end of their text or whatever, then that means they're obviously interested in your answer. So continue to go. And yeah. Oh, one thing that I've learned now, I don't know if this is a Zoomer thing or if everybody does this. If somebody responds to your last message with just an emoji, that's the polite way of saying I'm done. Don't push past that. So if you're like, hey, okay, well, hey, I hope you have a great time at your whatever event. And then they respond with like heart emoji or whatever. Okay, then you're done texting. That was their way of saying like, okay, cool, thank you, bye. Stuff like that. Don't like, if you're getting like an emoji response or whatever like this, don't keep sending huge. Don't do that. Not good, okay? What chair are you sitting on? Some fucking Herman Miller chair. The Logitech one. The M-Body. For the type of content you do, 4K at Ultra HQ is overkill. I shoot current reality TV stuff at 1080p still for major networks. You don't need the resolution to spot even mile or pimple on people's faces. Well, the only nice thing about shooting 6K, if I do it, and recording in 6K, is the ability to punch in or readjust the image So for instance, one of the issues that we had, I joked about this a little bit, but it was kind of a real issue. The very first guy that came up to talk was insanely fucking tall.
Judaism.
We're blowing up.
And then this guy, not to make fun of this guy, the next guy, I think he was the second guy to come up, was like very short. So like,
I'm not following.
What the fuck?
All of the Epstein shit is bullshit. Well, didn't you consent to that being stolen?
So I've got this guy, okay, who's like a 6'6" monster. And then the next guy is like a 5'5" king. And it's like, well, fuck me. If I was recording in 6K, I could just shoot this whole thing wide. And then I could just have the editor punch in more for it. This guy's so tall. For no reason. He doesn't need to be that tall. You don't ever need to be that tall. But I could just shoot in 4K. But also, I don't even know. So fuck it, who cares? Do you find yourself more attracted to anxious attachment or avoidant attachment women? I think I usually have to date, pushers. Because if I don't date a pusher, then we just do nothing. So like one of the nice things about Melina is she pushed to go out and do a lot of stuff. And I did a lot of stuff as a result of that. Most women I date are like pushers, I think. Destiny, with the emoji thing, do you mean stop texting forever or just that conversation is over? No, just that conversation is over. Not that you're done forever. Jesus. Were you legitimately kind of afraid of the handshake thing? No, one thing you have to do when you're meeting with like celeb, whatever people, whatever the fuck, whatever you think of me as, when you do a thing with me, the thing that you should think about is he able to do this with everybody? Because what'll happen is like if one guy comes up and he wants to like that one guy that wanted to say a prayer or whatever, like I didn't know you were going to pray for me now. If someone wants to come up and shake my hand or do whatever, that means that theoretically I have to basically do that with every single person, and I might not want to. And it's just like, and then it gets dramatic. It's like, oh, you just said that guy couldn't. It's like, fuck me, yeah. Behara, can't you just shoot at your existing resolution higher? You can frame the audience as a bust shot. We don't need to be seeing their knees. Well, yeah, but you don't want to punch in on a 1080p thing, because then when you go to blow that up, it's gonna be fucked. I vaguely recall the Blackmagic cameras have built-in RTSP MP streaming. Did you check what bitrate resolution it supports? Nope, don't talk to me about any of that. Don't care about that. I already have a good-ass device. I run an Ethernet cable to all 3 cameras, and it does power and video for all 3 of them. And I can do tons of data, tons of video. I can take 6K footage out easy, and it goes to my 4x12 device. But that 4x12 thing is that IP converter. I have this thing, outputs at the back. I take 3 SDI outs from this device, and then that goes into this device, and then this connects to my laptop via USB, and then I choose on this. This is my switcher. So 1, 2, 3 will switch between my SDI connections coming out of the back of this. Each camera runs into the 1, 2, 3 from the back here, yeah. Not gonna lie, we need a new podcast. Maybe, yeah. I'm just waiting for... I just need to know when this fucking court case ends. I have a thing I want to do, but I just need to... I just have like a constellation of stuff that's just like orbiting me right now that I need to figure out. Like I've got a lot of people that want to do stuff. I just need to figure out when this is ending. I'm praying that they're pissing off the judge right now so much that the motion to dismiss... that the judge is just like, you know what? Fuck this case. You know, motion to dismiss granted. I'm making a recommendation. You guys are done. Fuck, did I have one more? I feel like I had a question. Wait, was my one more question? That might have been it. Oh, okay, wait. And I have one more random question. Do you have any solution for recording since source video for your editors? Or do they just use the stream DVR recordings? They just use the stream DVR recordings right now. Why don't you get back to just doing interesting streams? Do new court memes. Nice. Hold on. I mentioned that I bought this. It's actually really nice. I really like this. It's not battery powered at all, so it's very light. But it's like a dual monitor that I plug into the side of my laptop, and then it gets me 2 extra monitors on the side. My question is, I keep hearing about the rumors, the memes of like daisy chaining display port USB-C stuff together. What does that mean? Can you do that? A podcast with Connor would unironically be Kino, or something like Bridges, where you would talk to people one-on-one to be sick. I know it was pre-lawsuit, but those solo combos you had in New York were nice. The New York stuff was like, that was like the upshoot that that Pixie fucked us on, but it's okay. I'll have so much credibility with the right wing after surviving my very own special Me Too suit with a small pack's worth of money, single-handedly supporting the state of California. You aren't allowed to go over the max amount of monitors, but it is magic. How would you support it? Like, what would that look like? So like on the side of this, I can hook in, it looks like I think if I plug into this, only one of the monitors is active. And then if I plug into this, 2 monitors are active. But like, how would I hook in another one? Literally just daisy chained USB-C cables? Is that a real thing? You daisy chain on the monitors. How? What does that mean? Daisy chain USB-C monitor. Your monitor has to support it. Oh, do you think maybe this one doesn't support it? It would probably say it if it did, huh? Oh, fuck, it doesn't. Okay, never mind, whatever. Wait, explanation. Understanding MST, multi-display setups with Windows, macOS DisplayPort. What is this? Multi-stream transport is a core feature of DisplayPort 1.2. Does USB-C have this DisplayPort built into the standard? Is USB-C, is a Thunderbolt cable using DisplayPort? Does Thunderbolt do DisplayPort video? Mandates that video is mandatory on any port marked as such. Okay. So this is DisplayPort. Okay, so could I theoretically buy a device like that's a USB-C hub? Here's my question, okay? Hold on. Fuck, like I want something like this, but the outputs are USB-C. I want it to be all USB-C. I don't need this nasty fucking HDMI bullshit. Do these not exist? Oh, what is this? U. Wait. U. A-type. Excuse me. MST hub USB-C. No. Do they not make just... What's your end goal? I don't... It might be overkill, but it would be cool if I could set up 2 of these, because these screens are each 1080p. Like if I could set up 2 of these, then that means that I could have my 1 laptop screen and then I could have 4 of these screens and it would just have plenty of space. Right now I have just enough space for all 3 chats and OBS, but if I had another thing up to do the cameras, I feel like it would be nice to have one more screen with that. But it would basically be 2 of these next to each other, so 4 monitors here and then the main monitor on the laptop. But I don't know, I would need like a USB-C out from the laptop and then a USB-C dock, and then that thing would have 2 USB-Cs out to each of these. Desktop docking station. USB-C, desktop, whatever, I don't know. I'll write this somewhere. I'll look into this. Desktop docking station. Yeah, like this kind of guy thing. That would be cool. This guy, does he work? Does he do what I want him to do? Stop! Where did this thing come from? No. Where'd the guy go? Okay, don't go. It didn't work. USB-C docking stations. Something like this. But I want it to be USB-C out. I don't want to do... Oh, I guess USB-A type can still do USB 3.2, the 3.2 standard for data, right? Is that enough? Maybe? Yeah, I would have to check. I don't know. Okay, whatever. I'll have to check. Okay, I think that's all my tech questions for now. You're lucky. Oh, okay, wait. My final meme question is, fuck, I had one. What was it? Oh, you're so lucky I forgot. Oh, no, wait, I have 2 more meme questions. How mad are you? I need to fuck your mom. Does anybody have this shit? Is it worth it? So in the last event, I had to use my phone to hotspot. I was looking at like mobile modems because sometimes we don't get anything and we have to stream from our own, like a phone hotspot. There's no advantage to having like an actual hotspot device, like a Nighthawk or whatever, versus just a phone. An ATEM Extreme gives you plenty of outputs. You can output a multi-view. You can see all your cams on one monitor. An ATEM Extreme? Is that the Chernobyl looking device? Because I don't want that shit. Oh shit, ATEM Extreme. I think that the ATEM Mini I'm using gives me 2 outputs as well, so I'm not as worried about that. Damn. Yeah, I don't think I need this. Okay, thank you though. Your phone will prioritize its apps and notifications. You want to dedicate it, prioritize its apps and notifications that take what, like 5 kilobits per second of data for what, push notifications? Destiny, is your issue read the New York talks that you don't have a studio location anymore, or what's the issue caused outside of the suit? It's just no, it's just the suit. The problem is nobody's going to read court docs, number one, and number two is since the goal of Pixie's law firm is to just character assassinate as much as possible, I don't want to be working with somebody and then they find like a new thing to shove in the court docs, you know. So it has to be over. Also, once it's over, I can just point to it. Like, rather than there being outstanding allegations or whatever, I can just point and say, oh, look, I won my court case. Like, all of that was bullshit. Boom. And then I'm done with it. So. Did you ever look into one of those IRL streamer backpacks? I haven't, because fuck that. Oh, no.
So, I've been thinking about this concept a lot lately. Okay. There's tons of folding phones out now. It's been a category for a little while, and we're expecting a folding iPhone soon. It'll probably reinvigorate the category. And
and then I also thought about but I hate it so much. I thought about just getting Starlink Mini. Oh god, that feels so gross to say. For your use case, the phone is sufficient. Hotspots can provide newer Wi-Fi standards than what is used in phones for the Wi-Fi chip, but you're not working in a 1+ gigabyte space, so whatever. Yeah, and I feel like phones are always kind of the latest when it comes to connectivity and shit. It's like the most important thing, so.
I actually don't.
The only difference being if you use like multi-SIM, like you get like a bonded modem, but I don't want to fuck with that shit ever again.
Think that the concept of a Pixel and the concept of a folding phone are actually really compatible. And that's okay. So hear me out. The idea of a Pixel is very specific. Like we've seen it for the past couple years now. It's a super smart phone. Like it's never really been.
There's no equivalent to Starlink, but it's going to be worse data than towers. So the issue is not data, because the data on everything is so fucking high nowadays. It doesn't matter. The only data, like if I had a reliable 10 megabit per second line up and down, that's good. That's plenty to stream on. The issue is I can't have I can't have jitter or instability on the line. Like I would rather, because I can get 500 down and 150 up, but like if it's jittery and it goes back and forth, then it's like, well, what the fuck is the point?
And a super high-end piece of hardware. It's never had the best screen or the best chip or the best battery or the best cameras, but just a ton of great, clever software that the everyday person can appreciate. And more often lately than ever, also a pretty good deal. But then the idea of a folding phone, well, this is inherently niche. Like this is going to be a premium priced, premium built piece of bleeding edge hardware for the people that want the absolute most from their phone. They use their phone so much they have 2 different styles of phone in one, and it might cost $2,000 to get that. So Pixel and folding phone are like opposites. They're at odds with each other. But that didn't stop Google from making another nearly $2,000 folding phone. And so I've been using it, and as someone who really likes Pixels, and as someone who likes folding phones, I like it. But
do you flip ecosystems a lot? I swear you went from Pixel to iPhone back to Pixel. I've had my iPhone for probably 3-ish years. But now the only thing that might break me a little bit off of the iPhone ecosystem is now I realize that laptops are actually kind of based. And if I'm not using that iPad, I'm not as beholden to my iPhone. So I don't know.
I do understand that there are very few people. But
Destiny wouldn't be able to access his own website if he used Starlink. Well, assuming I don't get kicked in the head, by a fucking goat, or, fall off a fucking bridge and land on my brain and get brain damage, or have a brain worm eat my brain into RFK status, what I would do is I would probably just use my NordVPN browser plugin and push one button, and then I would log in, because I'm not fucking retarded. So
I recommend this to. So the biggest change versus last year's Pixel Fold, no joke, is the new hinge. It's been re-engineered so there are both aesthetic and functional improvements.
Have you used Starlink while moving though? I assume the jitter is low if you're sitting at the same spot relative to a tower. Hotspotting gets throttled by mobile providers after a certain usage though. Well, unless the guy running production on my laptop is going to be running around the fucking field, it should be stationary.
Folding phones, I like it, but I do understand that there are very few people who I can recommend this to. So the biggest change versus last year's Pixel Fold, no joke, is the new hinge. It's been re-engineered so there are both aesthetic.
Do you mostly not want to get Starlink because of Elon? Yes.
Aesthetic and functional improvements. It's now gearless and it's much smaller. So now the bezel to the left of the cover screen is much thinner and it's closer to even all the way around and it has this nice smooth motion.
Ew. Wait.
Bezel to the left of the cover screen is much.
That bezel is huge. Holy shit.
Much thinner and it's closer to even all the way around and it has this nice smooth motion, a satisfying kind of heavy resistance. It's a nice hinge. Shout out to the hinge engineers, I guess. So this makes room for the next best thing about this phone, which is these new displays. So you can maybe already tell this outside cover display is a little bit bigger. It's 6.4 inches and it's also a good amount brighter. One of my favorite trends in phones this year. So 3000 nits is the new max and it looks really good in basically any conditions. Then you open it up and the inside 8-inch screen is brighter too. Now, not much else is different. It still has a selfie camera cut out in the corner. It still has that aggressively medium bezel all the way around. And it still has that very visible crease through the middle that you can easily feel with your finger, but you kind of learn to live with over time. So then the next best thing about this phone is probably Pixel Snap. So the magnets in the back that they've added to every Pixel to give them Qi 2 wireless charging, but also have them snap to literally any MagSafe accessory, elite. It's awesome. They made some of their own Pixel Snap accessories, of course, but the fact that every Pixel 10 in the lineup can snap to a MagSafe charger or a dock or anything you can buy right now or might already have is so dope. And even though this folding Pixel is a bit heavier than the average phone, it does still stay up in the car dash, no problem. That was one of my concerns coming in. There are also some other tiny changes, like the SIM card tray, which is still here, has moved up to the top of the phone, and you can also now go up to a terabyte of storage. Now, we already learned that this Tensor G5 chip, which is new for this generation, was kind of a letdown power-wise. Like, it's nowhere near the most powerful chips in phones right now. But they did pair it with 16 gigs of RAM because it's a multitasking foldable, so that makes sense. So yeah, I was
Destiny, I literally didn't touch my phone once the whole event because I was afraid of fucking with the connection. Oh, what's up, Andrew? Good job.
let down by the power levels, but I would say I was pleasantly surprised by the battery life and the efficiency, because the battery life of this phone was actually really solid. Effectively, when you're using it closed a lot, it's like a slightly thicker phone with a relatively small 6.4-inch display, and it's a 5,015 milliamp hour battery. So using it like that, I was getting like 6 hours.
Did he say 5,000?
6.4-inch display, and it's a 5,015 milliamp hour battery. So using it like that, I was getting like 6 hours of screen on time, no problem, every single day. Of course, mileage varies pretty directly with the amount of time you spend unfolded, where it can chew through battery faster. But there's no question that the extra room inside, thanks to the thinner hinge, was put pretty directly towards battery, and it turns out to be a surprising strength of this phone. Worth it. Shout out again to the hinge engineers. Also, did I mention this is the first foldable ever to be fully IP68 water and dust resistant? You better believe that's also.
Wait, new iPhones have 6,000 plus? I almost bought a new one this morning. I went to the, I had to go to the bank. God, I hate going to the bank. And every time I go to the bank, they never have what I need. And then I have to make an appointment and reschedule. And so I went to the iPhone store and I was like, listen, do you have the, I want the 17 Pro Max. I need the orange one. If I get an orange one, or if I get one of these, it's got to be the orange one, because I just like that color. What is the battery life? Battery life. Battery capacity. That's what I should look for. Damn, 5,088. Okay, so
also because of that hinge. So using the Pixel 10 Pro Fold closed is pretty good. Everything I like about Pixel 10s is still here. It's all the Android 16 features, the Material 3 expressive aesthetics and the animations, and then all the AI features, call screening, now playing, all of that. Super smart smartphone, plus the new longer battery life, like I said. So then opening it up, just like every other foldable, I get inspired to be way more productive. Like I start doing things I would never do normally on a phone, like organizing travel, buying plane tickets, and doing things side by side, like email triage with schedule building on my calendar. Like I just get this itch to crush my...
NMP ran Starlink while driving from Austin to Vegas. You have to have, you have to be looking at the sky with the thing, right? With the little dish thing that you get. That can't be like inside the car, right? Did they mount it to the top, or?
Do list and be productive because I have all this real estate now. There isn't anything particularly new or special about Android on this folding screen. Of course, there's still side-by-side apps and the taskbar and dock thing at the bottom. But after that, it feels like it's really just what you make of it. But also, surprise, this Pixel is clearly still not a hardware leader in any way. Like it's still kind of a chunky foldable phone, which is very noticeable when compared to a lot of these newer ultra thin folding phones. And it's also noticeably heavier. So the slightly uncomfortable feeling that you get while using the phone closed, which, let's be real, is how you're going to be using it a lot, that's important. And so you could argue that that is a sacrifice that's necessary for such good battery life, but I just think the ergonomics are right up there on top of the list for most important things about a foldable. And this isn't like a silicon carbon battery or anything that charges particularly fast either. And so the newer foldables just feel more pleasant to use, even when open too. The lighter weight makes a difference, the thinner bezels make a difference.
Oh wait, you can't see the fold hardly at all on this. Is this just like a illusion because I'm looking at this on video, or?
And so the newer foldables just feel more pleasant to use, even when open too. The lighter weight makes a difference, the thinner bezels make a difference, the lesser creases on other foldables makes a difference too. This is also essentially the exact same cameras as last year, which is to say almost flagship quality. Like it's just a half step down from the Pixel flagships, despite how big this camera plateau is. So just have a little less detail and a little more noise and a little less ability in low light shooting scenarios. And the 10 megapixel selfie cameras on the cover and inside screens are just not that great at all, unfortunately. And the Tensor G5 is decently efficient, like I said, and using the phone has been smooth, and I have no complaints with regular everyday use, but this doesn't hold a candle to the
Look at what storm chasers use for internet and live streaming. They often go to remote areas. Now that I'm thinking about it, they probably use Starlink. I don't think you would ever use Starlink if you're doing storm chasing, or if you're near storms a lot. One of the big issues with the when you're in like crazy weather stuff, if you're using Starlink, right? The whole point is that that stuff is shooting a signal back and forth to satellites. And if you have like a tornado, it probably depends on if it's like an F5, F1, whatever. When it's spinning so much, what happens is if your internet gets sucked into the tornado and then spit back out, you could end up on somebody else's internet connection. And if they're doing illegal shit or whatever, then you could become liable because now their internet websites are being spit back out at you out of the tornado, and then your data could be going to them.
Snapdragon 8 Elite for the most powerful stuff. Or it's about to get replaced by the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. I don't know why it's called that, but still. So the point is, in the competitive $2,000 price segment for smartphones, like people rightfully start cross shopping a lot and expecting the absolute max from their phone, especially with the hardware. And this phone, while it is really nice to use, I enjoy it, and it gets a lot of things right, it's pretty clearly not giving you the absolute max, especially with the hardware. Here's another way of looking at it. This is a really good phone in a vacuum. Ooh. But we're not in a vacuum. So you have to consider the other options that are really exciting and really pushing the limits, and then you start to compare it and notice other things that are great about those other phones. I'll keep using this one though. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next one.
Okay, whatever. Okay, I won't get the full then. The new one is just the Pixel 10, right? I should get that one. That's the good one right now. Pixel 10. I need a second phone. I don't have a second phone anymore. And I've been paying for my Google data, and I don't have a fucking SIM connector. Also, why do people still use physical SIM cards? Cringe. Just get an iPhone. Pixels are so bad. Well, one, it'd be nice to have two phones so that I can hotspot again and still have my main phone on me. Number one. And number two, I still like the Android notifications and keyboards better. I make so many typos on this iPhone keyboard, okay? I feel like it's gaslighting me every time I try to text somebody. And I'm like, fuck me, dude. Is this link purple? No, what is it?
So this is the iPhone. So this is the iPhone 17 Pro Max. And this is the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max.
Okay.
And at first glance, it would be very easy to dismiss this as just another Chinese iPhone clone, because it kinda is, and that's kind of how it like first hit my radar. Xiaomi has been making their flagships very friendly to iPhone users for years now, and this one's no exception. It's an extremely similar shape. It has the same flat sides, the speakers and the antenna lines, and just the general aesthetic look familiar. Like this one's camera plateau is very reminiscent of the new iPhones. And it doesn't end there. The software experience has also for years taken some not so subtle cues from iOS, from the quick control pull down to certain stock app aesthetics to even certain widgets and icons. They have their own dynamic island going on up there. And Xiaomi even, yes, changed the name of their whole flagship phone lineup, skipping a number.
Does Destiny know how to install the Google keyboard on his iPhone? I do, but it still sucks. I tried it once and I used it for like a week because I thought maybe I'm just retarded, and then I realized that this is not the same. It just sucks. I don't know why or what the difference is, but it absolutely sucks ass.
To match the iPhones. So yes, there is a base Xiaomi 17, 17 Pro, and 17 Pro Max this year.
Base.
But, as I talked about in my switching video, link with the like button, that stuff's just to get you in the door. That's just to make you comfortable. But then once you start looking into the rest of this phone and actually using it like I have, that's when you're exposed to all the rest of what makes it so good. And this phone is a spec monster that feels, I guess, specifically designed to one-up the iPhone. It's like
spec monster,
but better. Like take this display, for example. This is the Pro Max, so it's the same size, 6.9-inch diagonal as the iPhone Pro Max. Pretty similar, even bezels all the way around. Now it's actually slightly beat on resolution, but you can never tell that with your eyes. What you can tell is it does get noticeably brighter, and it has a much smaller cutout at the top because it trades Face ID for a super fast ultrasonic fingerprint reader underneath the display. So, you know, like an iPhone, but better. But maybe all that's not that impressive to you. Like the iPhone's display isn't that unbeatable. What about the chip? Because the iPhone Pro Max is the one you get when you want the absolute maximum performance, and that A19 Pro chip with the vapor chamber is pretty sick.
The vapor
but the Xiaomi
chamber.
17 Pro Max is one of the first phones shipping with the new Qualcomm flagship chip, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, and turns out it's made some solid strides in performance over the already impressive Snapdragon 8 Elite to the point where it's essentially now matching the iPhone's record-breaking single-core performance, bar for bar. And it's actually beating it in multi-core and GPU.
What do people even use these cores for? Like, what are they doing on their phones?
So now it has credible claim to just be the world's fastest mobile chip, period. And it's paired with 16 gigs of RAM and up to a terabyte of fast UFS 4.1 storage. So yeah, I'd say like an iPhone, but better. Okay, every flagship phone is fast these days. That's just bragging rights, a little higher benchmark scores here or there, whatever.
Okay, wait, hold on. I've used this meme a bit because I think somebody said this, but I don't know if it's true or not. Is it actually true that in some states, so in Florida, we're not allowed to look at porn anymore unless we give them a photo of our gooning ID and everything? I've heard that in some states, I don't know if this is in Texas or something, I've heard that there are states where you have to show an ID or you have to re-verify your identity with like a picture like every hour or something. Is that true? Link, what is the state? Is that in Texas? Texas, verify continuously ID adult content. Okay, good troll. There's ones where it asks you to take a selfie and then it uses Iron Man to verify if you're over 18. How do websites like X get around this? Because I think X is one of the only things that like Twitter or whatever is one of the only platforms that allows you to just have porn, and there's no age verification or anything on whatever. That's a personal question. Is your resting heart rate high on Vyvanse? I just started Adderall XR, and on my current dose, my HR is a decent chunk higher. That's probably all in your head. From what I saw, go look at your own research papers. What I saw was over a lifetime of being on an amphetamine, I think that the average resting heart rate rise will be 4 to 7 beats per minute. So just go to the gym, start exercising more, okay? Good luck.
What about battery? That's where the Pro Max is supposed to excel, right? Yeah, so the smaller Xiaomi 17 Pro is already super impressive. Thanks to this highest density silicon carbon battery we've ever seen, it is a 6,300 milliamp hour battery.
What about blood pressure? I don't know if it's supposed to affect your blood pressure at all.
That's already bigger than the S25 Ultra, bigger than the OnePlus 13, bigger than any iPhone ever made by a mile, and that's without getting rid of the SIM card tray. But then this Pro Max, well, this Pro Max has a 7,500 milliamp hour battery. 7,500 milliamp hours.
Damn.
And it has 100-watt wired charging with a charger that comes in the box, and it has 50-watt wireless charging. This thing's ridiculous. I haven't really had it long enough to test it, just a few days, and I can't even really daily this phone since it's the China-only model, which is a bummer. But I kind of have zero doubts that this is going to be a great battery performer. So if that's something you care about at all with a Pro Max flagship phone, it's all here. And the fact that it's silicon carbon means
my resting heart rate is around 70 on nothing, but 90 plus on 30 milligrams of Adderall XR. 30 milligrams of Adderall XR I think is quite a bit, but from 70 to 90 plus is crazy. Something else has to be going on. You're either starting to think about it a lot, which is causing you to get nervous, which is increasing it, or something else is happening on it. That's a 20 BPM, and how long? That's a crazy increase. Something else must be changing, yeah? At Destiny, back to the Starlink thing, it's actually pretty reliable, even in severe weather, unless it's literally pouring buckets or hailing. That's what I've heard, that Starlink is pretty reliable, yeah?
you get all this extra capacity, but the phone's not any thicker or heavier because of it. Matter of fact, this phone is lighter than the iPhone 17 Pro Max. My favorite stat, though, might be that it has 22.5 watt reverse wireless charging, so you can use this phone as a battery bank.
It does affect your blood pressure? I guess I'll look it up. Hold on.
To wireless charge all kinds of other accessories, and could charge up an iPhone from, I think, dead to 100% if you really wanted to. So yeah, the battery is kind of nothing like the iPhone, just better. Now, if it's cameras that you care about, well, naturally the triple 48 megapixel cameras on the iPhone 17 Pros will appeal a lot to you. I don't think it's a coincidence though that this Xiaomi is nicely outfitted also with triple cameras that are 50 megapixels each for a nice little one-up. But it's not the megapixel count that matters. What matters is all three of these cameras are actually really good. They're super impressive. They each take very detailed, crisp shots with a naturally shallow depth of field, and honestly mostly decent colors with some different tastes. You know, they tend to overexpose my skin tone on my face, like a lot of other phones from this region do, but my own skin tone with no faces detected is way more accurate. The telephoto has also been really impressing me. It's a 5x optical zoom, and it has even more natural bokeh and naturally a really nice portrait look. And these are all just a 12 megapixel stills, not even full 50 megapixel shots. And then there's a bunch of other really nice customizations in the camera app UI. Things like 8K video, which you're watching right now. Also the little exposure slider in auto mode is always there. I actually use that a lot, and it's sweet. Also teleprompter mode, which lets you read text while you are talking to the camera, and no one would ever know.
Wow.
Mostly. But there's one more important thing. One more very important thing that I've somehow gotten this far into the video without mentioning it, which is that if you hit this little button all the way up in the corner, that turns on the preview on the rear display.
Oh my god, taking selfies with the front-facing camera, that'd be sick as fuck. Do you not get a review every 6 months or something? No, but I think in January I'm going to get a whole blood panels and everything done. I need to get back on my health arc, okay?
Back display. Because yes, that entire back camera plateau I mentioned earlier is actually a full corner-to-corner 3000 nit 120 hertz OLED display. And it's
come on, bro.
Kind of a lot of screen, actually. On the 17 Pro, it's 2.7 inches diagonally. Here on the Pro Max, it's 2.9 inches, and it's only really interrupted by the camera cutouts. So turning it into a viewfinder for those primary cameras makes a lot of sense to take just the highest quality selfies mankind has ever seen. Kind of a no-brainer. And then you get all of the normal photo controls too. You can do zoom, you can control aspect ratio and video modes and stuff like that. So that's
actually so crazy nice. What the fuck?
The number one use of this back display. But now that it's so much bigger, there's also way more that you can do with it. You might remember a couple years ago, this is not the first time Xiaomi's done a screen on the back camera bump of one of their flagships.
Wait. If you were to do that, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying that much attention. Could you just like get rid of the fucking, what's the name that they call that punch out for the selfie cam? Couldn't you just like get rid of that completely? That would be so clean. That would be so clean.
Max, it's 2.9 inches.
The notch?
It's only really interrupted by the camera cutouts. So turning it into a viewfinder for those primary cameras makes a lot of sense to take just the highest quality selfies mankind has ever seen. Kind of a no-brainer. And then you get all of the normal photo controls too. You can do outside screen on flipping phones. Like when they were small, screen on the back camera bump of one of their flagships. Like the Xiaomi 11 Ultra wasn't that long ago, and it had the same thing, an absolutely gigantic camera bump and a little screen on the back. But
okay, I could just be phone retarded because I don't look at many phones, but it feels like in the US there's like 3, maybe 4 like real phone manufacturers. There's Apple, there's Samsung, and then there's it's like those two. Are they like 90% of the market share? Like Pixel, I think, is like 1% or something. Samsung. The OnePlus people might have like 3 or 4% or something. I don't know. What is the phone market share United States? Pixel's 3 to 5%? Is it really? I thought it was like 1. Oh, Google is 2 to 3%. Is OnePlus, is that Motorola? It's like Apple and Samsung. One thing that was like really cool, and it sucks because we are supposed to be the capitalism monsters, and I don't know if it's actually like that. Maybe these are all knockoffs or they're sucking shit or whatever. But I've seen videos where like when you go to like Chinese phone markets, there are so many different manufacturers that are making so many different types of phones. Bro, stimulants fuck with my eyes. Am I retarded or do y'all feel that too? They can. You have to be used to it too. You have to adjust to it. Like if you took like a stimulant medication, it would probably jack your heart rate. I guess it would affect your blood pressure because they're vasoconstrictors. So your blood pressure must increase, right? If the diameter is shrinking. But once you adjust to it more by taking it over time, you should. My guess is it won't have that big of, as big of an effect on you. Would be my guess. You have them here in the US, but people never look at them. Look at the Asus gaming phones. They look cringe, but they have gaming specs. Are they cringe, though? I just don't like a bunch of proprietary software on my fucking phone. It drives me crazy. The ban on Chinese phones has really hurt innovation and competition in the US. Just look at the charging speeds they get. It makes me jealous. Yeah, and we need like the European Union to regulate shit for us. Like GDPR and all that bullshit. What's going on, guys? The cleanest phones are Pixel and OnePlus. Wait, is the OnePlus actually Google, like Android stock or whatever? Stock Android, sorry.
But the thing is, this concept is kind of evolving now, just like the outside screen on flipping phones. Like when they were small, you could kind of only really use it as a clock or maybe a notification alert banner, and that's about it. But then it got a bit bigger, and it was enough to see yourself in the camera viewfinder, so that was nice. And now the year is 2025, and it's a full screen, edge to edge, with just camera cutouts, and there's way more you can do with it. So on this phone, you can double tap to wake it up, where it's showing clock in whatever style you want. Could be an analog style, could be a cartoon style, could be an Apple Watch ripoff style, whatever you want. But once it's awake, then you can swipe down to check your notifications and manage them there. You can also swipe over from the cameras to open straight to the camera app. And you can swipe over from the right edge to close whatever's open. And then a lot of the customization on the back here is frankly just like an Apple Watch. And that's probably exactly how Apple would do it if they suddenly had a screen on the back of the iPhone. So you can hold down and then swipe to go back and forth between your watch faces or clock faces. And then if you want to add more options, the Settings app has a whole section dedicated to personalization, changing colors and dialing in all sorts of looks and themes. Everything from complicated watch complications to fitness-themed widgets to anime characters, it's everything. And there's a whole marketplace of all sorts of other options. So there's something for everyone. And then just beyond even the
iPhone is unironically the most stock phone you can get. You just can't fuck with it as much as Android. Well, I mean, the problem is like, there's just some like built-in things that force you into some Apple things that I just don't ever want to use. Like I'm probably always going to use Google Maps because that's how all my shit is integrated. But like, for instance, like if I get a text message and somebody puts an address in the text, this is such a fucking annoying problem. In 2025, I can't fucking believe that I have GPUs that are having 70 trillion fucking petaflops of data like every microsecond in AWS and Azure and all. We have all these technological things. But on my iPhone, when somebody texts me an address and I push the button, it tries to open Apple Maps that I don't have. And then I'm like, oh, fuck me, and you can't change that. That's retarded. That's in my mind, that's inexcusable. You can change the default Maps app. Yes, thank you for somebody who's never tried to do this before. You can't. You cannot change you can change the default Maps app, but you cannot change to what the Messages app defaults to. You could try it on your phone if you want. You can't do it. I know you can't because I've tried it a ton because it irritates the fuck out of me.
Always-on clock on the back of the phone that you can always see and see your notifications and the camera viewfinder. There's all sorts of other little extra stuff too. Like this feels very well considered. It's like a real, genuine feature, a reason to buy the phone. I feel like they've pushed it over beyond gimmick into actual useful thing. Like this can also show ongoing notifications. So if you've got a timer running, flip the phone over and it shows this nice little draining liquid animation to show your progress on that timer. Why would you do this over watching a countdown on the main display? I don't know, but looks cool. And then it also shows me other ongoing stuff like phone calls or music playback, and then I control them from that back screen. Why would I do this on the back screen instead of the main screen? I still don't really know, but looks cool. They even made this ridiculous retro handheld gaming case for the phone with real buttons and a D-pad. So if you put that on the back of the phone, it cannects via Bluetooth and it becomes a controller to play these mini games on that back screen.
Can you buy this in the US or what? Would I want to buy this?
I believe they actually made and sold this. Now, why? Why would anyone want to play games on the tiny back display with two huge camera cutouts?
I see, yes, I know that there's an iPhone keyboard bug. I have not liked the iPhone keyboard for the past like fucking 3 years I've had this phone. I understand with the latest thing, there's an iPhone keyboard bug. Please stop spamming the same fucking link over and over and over and over again. I understand. Thank you.
Poking through it instead of actually some real impressive games on that awesome main screen. I still don't know. And I probably wouldn't do it, but nostalgia really does some crazy things to some people's brains. But really, I bring up all this just to highlight that this is clearly the most well thought out, most complete version of this screen on the back idea that I think we've ever seen. Like I said, we've seen it before. We saw Xiaomi do it with that 11 Ultra, but we also saw the Nothing Phone 3, which did that dot matrix thing, which was kind of useful sometimes, or even the ROG Phone 9 for that matter. But none of them quite passed the threshold of gimmick for me. This back screen really has me taking more selfies than I ever thought I would in my life, just because of how good the cameras are. And the fact that they've done it all with basically no drawbacks, that's the other thing. Like it's edge to edge, it's corner to corner. It somehow doesn't disrupt the weight distribution of holding the phone. And like I said, it's lighter than the Pro iPhone. It's still IP68. You can dunk the whole thing underwater if you want to. And it even has a screen protector pre-installed on both the front and the back screen because, you know, you're gonna put that phone down on some debris once in a while. And yeah, you could still break it if you smash it, but so would a normal glass back anyway. So I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. I am bummed that I can't use this phone as my daily because, like I said, it's straight from China. This is a China version of it. And shout out to D-Brand for actually going and getting one in my hands because a lot of you were tweeting at me to check it out. So I'm glad I did. And I hope we can get some more phones like this over in these parts because it's kind of embarrassing what it does next to the stuff that we have available. Anyway, that's been it. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Peace.
Damn. I don't know why I wasted time watching this, but you know what? We did watch it, so fuck you guys.
Here we are in the car, and I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a rundown of how this whole thing works. So we actually...
Is this the Milena Mobile? Is this what's going to... I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Put the backpack right down here, you know, with a little longer cables to reach the front. Starlink's actually mounted on the roof, and you run that via Ethernet into the backpack, and that allows us to have solid footage pretty much the entire trip. So in the back here, we have two mounted televisions. I plugged in a Fire Stick, so every time the car turned on, the Fire Stick would boot to my Twitch channel, so people in the back could also see themselves on Twitch and get chat as well.
Why'd you link me this? Thank you.